Woof.
Okay. So here's a new devblog that came out today on January 4th regarding changes to submarines and ASW. Exterior system update. I'm not sure what that means until we read it. Airship Escort. Okay, and more. So update 13.1 is rapidly approaching. We're ready to share information about upcoming features. Airship Escort. So are they going to tell us how they're going to bring it back in the future? Or are they going to say, oh yeah, I know we took it out of randoms, but so many of you complained, we're going to put it back in, or we made some tweaks to make it better for randoms and we're going to put it back. I don't know. I hope they didn't do that. I hope they make it its own mode somewhere. So anyway, let's see what's going on. Changes to submarines and ASW. Here we are right here. We're excited to unveil some additional details about our previously announced changes to submarines and ASW. With these changes, we're aiming to create more consistent interactions between subs and surface ships while maintaining the current level of combat effectiveness of submarines. So they're making a few changes to surface ship ASW. The Venezia and the Hindenburg lines, as well as Prinz Eugen, Admiral Schroeder, will receive depth charge airstrikes, hallelujah, instead of depth charges that they currently have. Thank you. Tier 5 to 8 battleships will receive an increase in depth charge airstrike range. Both Tier 5 to Tier 8 battleships and cruisers will have their depth charge airstrike cooldown reduced. To balance this, the bomb damage will also be slightly reduced for these ships. This means that you'll be able to use your airstrike more often, but with a lower damage output. So, you got to balance it one way to the other way. So we'll see how that works. Ships that currently have special ASW settings will not be receiving any changes unless specifically noted. So let's see. They have a little drop down. Depth charge airstrike parameters for all tiers. Oh, this tells it. So cruisers, basically it looks like your range is not far off of your tier. A little, not quite, but so you got 5 at 5. This is for cruisers, by the way. 6 at 6 in tier 7. 7 at tier 8, tier 9, 8 at tier 10. 20 to 30 second reloads. There's your bomb damages. Battleships start off. Wow, tier 5 battleships are going to get 8 kilometer now. Well, that's a little nicer than some of them that have the frickin' anemic stuff. Yeah, so interesting stuff. So you get out to an 11 kilometer range up at tier 10 and super battleships. We have Commonwealth cruisers. So what is up with the Commonwealth? Oh, they're going. Oh, that's right. The Commonwealth cruisers are the new line that is built to be submarine hunters, kind of, as a cruiser. So you start off with 8 kilometers at tier 5 and 6, 9 at 7, 10 at 8, 10 at 9, and 11 at 10. Sounds like the news, doesn't it? 11 at 10, 10 at 11. Anyway, interesting. Ships with special ASW parameters. Depth charge airstrike range will be increased for Ohio. That's right. Ohio had a sucky airstrike range. I mean, terrible. Thunder JB or Jean Bart. It will become similar to the ranges for other battleships at their tiers. The Venezia and Yodo lines, as well as the upcoming Commonwealth line, will receive the Submarine Surveillance consumable in a separate slot. Interesting. Ooh, boy. Venezia doing that. Okay. Parameters of the Submarine Surveillance. Oh, wait a minute. We didn't look at this. Ships with special ASW parameters. The cruisers Canarias, Siegfried Aegir, Mingchong, and so Giulio Cesare still gets hosed on the range. I guess its special thing is that it has crappy range for that stuff. Massachusetts and Musashi look like they're getting hosed too at 7 kilometers. when they would normally get, freaking 10. Right? Yeah, 10. And they're both getting 7. So basically, some of your most, what it is, you notice this is like all the OP battleships are getting hosed on Submarine ASW. So they're saying, no, we don't want you to be a powerful battleship and have good ASW for submarines. Okay. Parameters of the Submarine Surveillance consumable. So here you go. Tier 5 and 6. So you got 5, 6, or 7 kilometers. 20-second action time. So again, it's kind of like a radar. It's more like a radar than a hydro. The Commonwealth cruisers get a little bit more range, 6, 7, and 8 instead of 5, 6, and 7. Okay, interesting. Next, we have some additional information about changes to the Hydrophone consumable available on submarines. This consumable will have the following characteristics. Consumable will allow submarines to immediately spot ships in range, regardless of terrain, similar to hydro and surveillance radar. It can be activated in any state, surface, periscope depth, or operational depth, but will only detect ships at periscope depth or on the surface. When submarines use hydrophone to detect ships above them in their line of sight, static silhouettes of these ships will appear for a short period, about 6 seconds, and then disappear. Ships behind terrain will be displayed as a short flash without a silhouette. So, okay. I'm looking to see, okay, I see some little silhouette stuff. Okay. I'm looking to see if we can see how this looks. Okay. Furthermore, we're adding a collision warning message for submarines that are underwater. And there is another underwater submarine within 2 kilometers. It will appear even if the enemy submarine isn't spotted and will disappear as soon as it leaves 2-kilometer range. It's important to note that if there happens to be several submarines in the vicinity, the message won't be any different. Okay, hopefully there won't be several in the same vicinity. And then finally, to balance out changes to ASW, we will improve the turning circle radius of all submarines so that they have the opportunity to better maneuver and reposition. On average, their turning circle will become about 20% better. As a result of these submarine changes, we're also adding the following effects to signals. Sierra Bravo, submarine surveillance reload time minus 10%, hydrophone reload time minus 10%. Okay. And this also affects the consumable preparation time at the beginning of battle. X-ray Papa Union dive capacity plus 5%. Interesting. So subs get signals. Sub signals. Nice. Okay. Now we're up to the second item, which is exterior system update. I'm interested to see what this means. Starting with update 13.1, the majority of expendable camouflages available in the game will get their permanent versions that you can either purchase through various activities, missions, and events. New permanent camos will operate similar to existing ones, blah, blah, blah. They won't be locked to a specific ship tier. You can link permanent camouflages for free to ships as long as you have enough copies. Unlinked permanent camouflages are stored in your inventory. You can also see the number of copies you have in the exterior tab. Once you link a permanent camo to a ship, it will remain linked to that ship, cannot be unlinked. So we're familiar with that aspect. It's also important to note that once you link the permanent camo, you'll no longer be able to use the expendable version of that same camouflage on that ship. Another important thing is you can't sell these camouflages. For standard single-colored abstract and thematic camouflages, once you obtain an expendable or permanent camouflage of this type on your account, you unlock the ability to purchase its permanent version on all your ships. You can purchase permanent, standard, single-color, abstract, and thematic camouflages for credits or doubloons. When purchasing this, in the exterior tab, it will be automatically linked to the ship. You can find the exact prices in the table below, so we'll get to see what they cost. Oh, well, here's your table. Oh, so they're going to let you buy some of these permanent camos with credits? Okay, I mean, it's a lot of freaking credits, but still, they're going to let you buy it for credits. I'm a little shocked at that to an extent, but hey, it is what it is. Yeah, I mean, 9 million credits, that's pretty steep. But anyway, you can't purchase expendable or permanent versions of trophy and special camos. For example, camouflages for participating in ranked battles or camo modes and collaborations. The introduction of these permanent camouflages brings some other changes. Daily rewards at the barge will change. Now there will no longer be an option to choose the more camouflages container as a reward. Okay. In Update 13.1, we will replace expendable camouflages for their permanent counterparts in collections, campaigns, account leveling rewards, as well as clan battles missions. That's interesting. In the future, we plan to substitute expendable camouflages for their permanent versions for some activities. For example, in the following ranked season. So, okay, they're making the push for more permanent camos, which I guess is fine. I don't see a problem with that. You know, it's just makeup at this point. It's makeup. It doesn't do anything. It makes the ship look different, but it doesn't give it any play bonuses or anything like they used to. So, you know, it's kind of here to there. If you're in that and want your ship to look a certain way, then there you go. You got more options now, and that's a good thing. So can't complain. Airship Escort is returning to the game as a standalone temporary battle type. See, this is what they should have done is, you know, like maybe they can have a rotating standalone battle type that they've always got one of them out there. Like they have Airship Escort for, you know, a month or two. They have asymmetric battles for a month or two. They, you know, so if you came up with some types, you could have one of these always out there for a period of months at a time, 2 to 3 months at a time. So interesting. In this mode, players will be tasked with leading their allied airship to its destination before the enemy team does. They can also achieve victory by destroying enemy ships. This iteration will use the same rule set that was used before it was added to random battles. Players will be able to utilize tier 8 to 10 ships of any type. So there you go. Now you know what battle modes you're going into. And not only do you know that, you can take the appropriate ships, since Airship Escort, at least in my estimation and opinion, is way more sensitive to ship selection than other modes. And White Coat Clubber, thank you for the Prime sub. Much appreciated. What is up next? Clan Battles. A new Clan Battles season will be launching in Update 13.1 with the following format: 7 versus 7, Tier 10 and super ships. No subs or aircraft carriers. That's something. Teams are limited to a maximum of 1 battleship per team. Also interesting. There are no restrictions on cruisers or destroyers. No more than 1 Petro per team. Limited the number of Napoli and Marseille. One team may not have more than 2 of these ships in total. So I guess that means you could have 1 of each, or you can have 2 Napoli or 2 Marseilles. Interesting. I expect some of that will change as that season goes on. So what else? Additional ship restrictions will be announced later. Well, of course it will, and that's fine. So there's your new clan battle season, what it will be, what the starting restrictions will be. And now some additional content additions and changes. Update 13 will bring a plethora, not just new content, but a plethora of new content to the game. The Dragon port with updated visuals. Interesting. This is our Dragon port. We got fireworks going on. Very cool. I like the dragon statue there. Commander Nyan with an individual voiceover, as well as Commanders Takayo Kurita and Karl Dorman, like Doorman. You know, now, many of you may not be old enough to know who this is, but there used to be a show on, and I can't remember if it was Rhoda, which was a spinoff of Mary Tyler Moore, or if it was Mary Hartman. It was one of those. I think it was Rhoda, and she lived in an apartment building, and they had a doorman, and his name was Carlton, the doorman. This looks eerily similar to Carl Doorman, like Carl the Doorman, Carlton Doorman. Interesting. I don't know that there's a connection there. I'm just saying it made the connection with me. There might be one of you out there that's old enough to know who and what I'm talking about. And what else? The New Year Beast patch and flag. The Gray Ghost patch and USS Enterprise flag. Okay. The Lunar Beast permanent camo for Xian Yang. This camo is still a work in process and will be revealed at a later date. Wow, they're having a lot of their art stuff seems to be taking longer than normal lately. That's interesting. The Pacific Ghost permanent camo for Enterprise. Interesting. The Battle of Java Sea container and premium container. And let's see what are in the containers. So in the regular container, you get a 16% chance for expendable economic bonuses, 20% chance for 3,000 free XP, 7.7% chance for each type of expendable camos, early morning or Union Jack, and am I reading that? 0.15% chance each for Udachi, Perth, Jupiter, Minagumo. So that's a total of 0.6% chance to get a ship. So in the premium container, you have a 16% chance for 14 of the rare expendable economic, 32,000 free XP, which is over 10 times what the regular container gives, times 2 permanent camouflages, early morning or Union Jack. That's kind of cool. 7% for each type, so that's a 14%. And then one of the following ships, 6%. So you have a 6% to get ships. The Jupiter and Minagumo are 2 new ships that will be coming out soon. If you already have all of these items, you get 32,000 free XP. So there you go. That is today's new DevBlog from January 4th. Fast backwards recap. We've got Java Sea container and premium containers where you can get potentially the new ships Jupiter or Minagumo. We've got camos for Xian Yang and Enterprise. We have some patches and flags, some new commanders, the new Dragon port. We have new clan battles season, tier 10, 7 versus 7, 1 battleship, 1 Petro maximum, and total of 2 Napoli or Marseilles between the 2 ships. Airship Escort will return as a standalone temporary battle type, so cool. Then you have the exterior system update, where they're talking about kind of focusing more on permanent camos than the expendable camos. So where you can actually purchase those. So another interesting one. And then lots of features about what they're doing with subs and sub surveillance and ASW ranges and that sort of thing, which you can read through yourself, but there's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, So as an engineer, and I look at this and I see these charts, I said, okay, it's nice in a way that they're kind of standardizing it, except for certain ships that have something special that will be different because of it. I'm generally okay with that because you've got a formula here that you're sticking to. Just like, in manufacturing, you have a process, and this process outlines how you're doing a certain job. And the reason that happens is so if something goes wrong, if you have 5 people doing that job and they're all doing it a different way, you're scratching your head, what the hell went wrong? But if everybody's doing it the same way and you have this problem, it makes it easy to find out, is it coming from one of the people, from one of the machines, or 2 of the machines, or is there a problem with the process, or whatever it is? You can easily zone in on what's going wrong. And I just like having things standardized like this. So no huge complaints about that. We'll see how it works in practice. But that's it. That's all for the DevBlog today. So now let's get out there and see if we can actually play some World of Warships. Thank you so much for watching the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want to receive notifications of future videos, just ring the bell. Until next time, Tater Dawg says, woof.